Hey, oh, geez, I look like a freak. Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. It's clobbering time, and I know I changed the time around a lot lately, but I was invited to a couple other streams, so I figured 7 o'clock was the best time to start. Marcus's father-in-law is in the hospital, or father, excuse me, is in the hospital, so I don't know if he'll be showing up or not. Some things are more important. So this is an open invite. It's clobbering time. The topic tonight is best of the year. So let's fight about your favorite comic of the year. Just keep in mind, I haven't read anything from Marvel or DC this year. So I mostly read independent comics this year, or back issues. I read a lot of back issues. And that counts too. If it's new to you, it's new to you. So, I'm not going to get upset if you're going to pick the original G.I. Joe run or ROM or something like that. Also, let's do some in-house news. We got Fund My Comic, still hosting Heroic Tales. That's where you could get Heroic Tales 1, you could get Heroic Tales 2. And if I may toot my own horn, I've been getting a lot of positive buzz, people talking positively about it. I do think it's a lot better. All of a sudden, I need a haircut. That's the way it is with me. Like yesterday, I didn't need a haircut. Now today, I need a haircut. But that's the way it is with me. But Heroic Tales 2, I've been so far. Haven't heard anything negative yet. I don't know if the negative people are being quiet, or if the people that just didn't like Heroic Tales 1 didn't order Heroic Tales 2, or they're all saving up for a grand slam attack. I don't know. But whatever. I got some real fan letters. Like, I didn't ask people, will you write a letter? Dude, you write a letter? Like real fan letters. One guy wrote like 3 pages, and I'm going to have to edit it because he guessed all the subplots that I'm throwing in there. Does that mean I'm doing a good job, or does that mean I'm just predictable? I don't know. So going forward with, I'm filibustering until people show up, either come into the chat or come into the panel. Here it is. So I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not allowed to say, but I've been talking to some people, and I don't know if things are finalized yet. So I would like to talk to this person. But an artist reached out to me and said, write me a story. I want to draw. And I said, what do you want the story to be about? Anything or whatever. And the first idea I pitched to him, he didn't like it. It was too dark. It was full on horror. And he said, I want to do something light, something I can share with my family. So I said, okay, how about this idea? And I said, I'll keep it like a Mad magazine. And he's like, okay, write it. So I wrote it, gave me a couple of weeks. I wrote it. He liked it. And then I said, what are we going to do with it? And he said, maybe we'll make an anthology. Or no, he said, it's perfect for an anthology. I said, well, whose anthology? And then we didn't know. So I said, I got like a bunch of other sci-fi stories that I wrote in college, like as short stories. I could turn them into comic book scripts. They're kind of funny, and they're sci-fi. So how about we make like a sci-fi magazine? We'll make it like an oversized, full color on the cover, but we'll make it black and white, like Mad Magazine or something like that. And he liked it. So I'm going to finish up these stories, maybe another week or two, because they're already written. I just have to turn them into comic book format. And then today I thought of a 4th story. So I'm going to write up all these 4 stories, send it to him, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll make a magazine. Maybe we won't. And then I was thinking that maybe like we'll do like a stretch goal, like a comic book sized full color edition. I don't know. What do you guys think? You got a few people in the chat, a few people watching. Tell me what you guys think. So we got Omnipro. Omnipro B says, hello. How you doing? Am I coming in loud and clear? Picture crisp? I got to get a microphone. This has got to be the year I get a microphone. So that's the news. And of course, nothing's been drawn yet. You know what I mean? So that could easily fall apart. I had a couple of people that I worked with. Yeah, everything's gung ho, scripts written, and then it ain't gonna happen, which is And then I had one guy just disappear in the middle of a script. Comics halfway done, and I haven't heard from him since September. So, things like that happen. So don't count your chickens until they hatch. So I'm starting to learn maybe it's best not to announce things. But Renzo, we were just talking today. Renzo will be done with Patriarch, he says, in January. It's January now. So he said by the end of January, we should be done. Now, we got about 10 pages done already. Usually by 10 pages, I launch my campaign, but I'm holding out. I'm going to hold out until it's done. Why? Because that'll give me a few options, and I'm going to leave it at that. So we'll see what happens when it's done as far as a campaign. And then your superhero, we could print it and send it out like right away. And then I want to go right to work on a King Fu Christmas special. I would love to have that done, published in your hands by Christmas. So that'll be like a half comic book size. So maybe, all my other comics have been 40 pages. So maybe this will be like a 20 page, just King Fu, and it'll be me, Oscar, Renzo, Bill, the same team. Oh, okay. This is something I got to bring up. This is my buddy Mike. Let me find it. My buddy Mike, he has his comic for Dan Sen, Argo Comics. He makes Marshall Strong, who is Colonel Strong in my team, the Meta League, and this is his comic. He's going to come on the channel and we'll talk about that. But these comics are part of my continuity. You know what I mean? This Marshall Strong is the same Colonel Strong in the Meta League who will make. He was in Heroic Tales 2, a panel, and he will probably debut. Not probably. He would definitely debut full on in a giant sized Punchline #1. So over here, I will bring this up. This is where is it? So this is Kickstarter. I'll make this big. You don't need to see my face. This is Kickstarter, Thunder Zone Comics Return. So this is 6 comics, and you could pick and choose. You could get them all. Oh, they launched today. All right, they already made over $1,000. But this is over here, Marshall Strong 3. So his Sumo Boy is one of them. Sumo Boy, the weirdo of another Akira homage cover. I like that cover. That cover's pretty good. Marshall Strong. So yeah, so these are characters that exist in the long box. This is Magnum, an earlier costume. This is Colonel Marshall Strong, and this is Kid Nemesis. So these are characters that exist in my world. Now, I have a caveat with Mike. This is a six issue series that'll be coming out under Argo Comics, their Thunder Zone imprint. And when the 6 issues come out, we're gonna take them and I'm gonna go through them with a fine-toothed comb and see if there's any continuity errors. And then we're going to put them on the long box comics. So we'll either give them their own campaign, or maybe we'll do a trade paperback, or maybe we'll just add them as add-ons, whatever, But we got to give Dan his time because he's publishing them. Got to be respectful. Don't want to step on anybody's toes. But yes, a few people were like, is this Marshall Strong the same Colonel Strong? I was like, yes, they're the same character. Mike is my buddy. We were born next door to each other. Known him since the day I was born, literally. And we've been playing. He's the one who taught me how to play Villains and Vigilantes. He's the one that introduced me to the role-playing game that basically defined my childhood and defined, my comic book making stuff. So this is his character. I was the game master. This is his character. And then Kid Nemesis is his other character. And then Magnum is my friend Paul's character. The public eye I played. So when you see that guy being crazy in the comics, you're going to see how I role played him. So this is I think it's pretty exciting. I already backed this. Here's another cover. This is the Spartan. This is the Spartan in the background. This is Startide. And this is Dreadnought, I think. And this is the Oni. So this is interesting because this is all of Dreadnought was Paul's earlier character. Magnum over here with the M is his later character. The Spartan is one of Mike's characters. Startide was another character's name. This guy Eric, who only played with us for a short while. He always played females. And then Oni was Jimmy's original character. So there we go. Did the cover artist do the interior art as well? I don't know. That's a good question. I'm going to have to ask Mike. Well, it says the shortest Tomasi and Rulo. So this is the cover artist and interior artist. This one right here. And then this is the same guy, just a different pose. Okay. And then this is okay. So yes. So the answer to your question is yes. They're all the same. All the same. And here's some interior pages. Okay, here's some interior pages. You know, and it's funny because I read issue 1, and then when issue 2 came out, I reread issue number 1, and I was like, wow, issue 1 was really good. Okay, so here's Colonel Marsh Storm, product of the U.S. military secret experiments with alien technology, leads a team of metahuman heroes known as Team Apex. See, that's going to change. He didn't want to copy my ideas. He didn't think so, you know, when we bring it over to Longbox Comics, we're going to fix the continuity, and then I'm going to make like a you know, reference it. Okay. But that is his origin. It was Project Red Cape, and that was a military experiment to create metahumans. Good evening. Hey, Ben, how you doing? Yes, so that answers the question. So there you go. So if you're interested in that, you could back it. I think you can get all the back issues as well. So that's Mike's characters, you know, and it's part of Longbox. Now, I have the caveat to say it's not finalized until it's Longbox, and then we'll fix the. So far, there was 2 names that needed to be changed: the team name and the name of the villain. I don't know why he changed it, but you know, we'll go back. All right, so there you go. So anything else we want to talk about? Anything else? What's going on? Get notifications. Just seeing if anybody wants to pop in. So far it looks no. So I'm gonna again to filibuster. I'll talk about this for a second. So tomorrow I got 5 friends coming over. So we have 6 players altogether. Myself, Jimmy, who is one of the V&V characters, my friend Jen, Roy, Scott, and Dave, and myself. We're going to play Twilight Imperium. And here's the rule books. Okay, so here's the rule book. Here's the rule book. Here's the rule book. Here's the rule book. And then I got a hardcover rule book. You know, the master rule book with all the corrections. But yes, these are all the rules to play this game. The box is a coffin-sized box. It is absolutely huge. I'll be taking pictures. We're gonna get Italian food catered during the day. It's one of those kind of things. So I wanted to start the year. I'm trying to be positive. This is my New Year's resolution: to be positive, to ignore the drama and don't get involved in it anymore. Just it doesn't exist anymore because it's not relevant. You know, it's dying out. No need to even talk about it. Be more positive and play more board games. You know, I've been not really playing. Last year I didn't play any board games. So I was like, let's start off the year with the bang. We're going to play the board game. Twilight Imperium is the apex predator of board games. You know, I think there's only 1 or 2 games that are like more nerdy, but Twilight Imperium is like playing Dune. You know, it's Star Wars and Dune mushed together, and it's 10 hours, and the first to get 10 points wins. You know, so you're battling for like 10 hours. Like you're literally battling for an hour to get a point, you know, and it's got a politics phase. It's got a war phase. You know, I love it. I love the nerdier, the more complicated, the more pieces, the more cards. I love that. My favorite game of all time is Arkham Horror Second Edition, my Fantasy Flight games. That takes up my huge. I have an oversized table. I love playing that game, setting up all the pieces, all the cards. I mean, it takes hours to set up. And then my second favorite game is War of the Ring, and I have the super deluxe version with pimped out pieces. I think I put pictures, but that is a game. I'm not joking. It takes all day to set up. So you literally start setting it up the day before, and it's a 2-player game. One person plays, Sauron, and one person plays the Fellowship, and it is just awesome. My friend Dave and I have played it a few times. We got to set up a weekend, and then I leave it up for like a week, and then I just play both sides, just having fun, just imagining the lore. Oh my God, it's so much fun. We got Old Dirty Fatty says, hello, John. How you doing, Old Dirty Fatty? Your name still gives me the giggles. I'm still a child in my mind. Have I ever played any board games at a convention? Yes, I have. I went to Dice Tower Con. My wife was nice to me, and she was like, for our vacation, she was like, let's, all right, you want to go to Dice Tower Con? Let's go to Dice Tower. She had such a blast that we went 5 years in a row. Now, it was in Florida, and my wife is a big Harry Potter fan, so it worked out. So the convention started on like a Tuesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we did the convention, and then we stayed 2 more days, and we went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter for 2 days. So I got to do all of the gaming stuff, and we went to Harry Potter. She, big Harry Potter. Harry Potter is a big thing with my wife and I. That's we met talking about Harry Potter. So that was fun. And we met 2 other couples, and the wives weren't board gamers. So the wives, did whatever wives do, hung out by the pool and, I don't know, cast spells. What do wives do? What do 3 women do on vacation? And then we and the 2 other guys, we all hit it up. So the 3rd year, we got a suite. So we got a big, we all had our own bedrooms, and then we had a gigantic, table. We had our own kitchen. So we bought groceries and cooked. And then we played games. After the convention, we went back to our hotel room and played games. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Now, my wife will play a game every once in a while, and one of the guys' wives, she loves games. She is good. She's a shark, and she's got a card face. And then the other wife, she'll play certain games, So it was fun to get all 6 of us together. We, that became like a tradition. Is at least once during the convention, we'd play a 6-player game of Sheriff of Nottingham. It's a bluffing game where you got to sneak goods in past. Everybody takes a turn as the sheriff, and you got to sneak goods. It's just fun. It's not the kind of game that I normally like, but it's super group dependent. Yeah, but yes, the answer to your question is yes. I played lots of games at board game conventions. I played with Tom Vassell. I played with the guys who now owned Indiegogo, the Backer Kit guys. They were a bunch of good guys. That's why I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I've met them. Unless it's different people. Keep in mind, this was like 7-8 years ago. I'm assuming it's the same people that run Backer Kit. You never know. Mono Macus says, will you try Trench Crusade? I don't know anything about it. What is it? Tell me about it. It sounds like a World War II game or World War I game. I have can you see it? No, you can't. But right down here in the bottom corner, right there on the screen, I have a World War I game, and then I have the tank expansions for it. And then I think they were going to come out with the biplanes, but I don't think it ever came out. But yeah, tell me about Trench Crusade. Sounds good. You guys think comic books are late for crowdfunding? Try board games. I literally have board games that are like 8 years late. I have every once in a while a box will show up, and I'll be at work and I look at the ring cam and I see a guy drop off this big cardboard box. I'm like, what did my wife order now? And she's like, it's in the garage. It's a board game. I'm like, oh my God, I did order this. It's like 9 years ago I ordered a game and it finally showed up. I forgot all about it. And to be honest, like these games are like epic, like play all weekend. They take up your whole. I kind of lost interest in that. Like when I play games now, like Twilight Imperium is just the right amount of geekiness, but now they have games that just exceed. And I'm looking around like Oathsworn, and I got Gloomhaven. That game that I'm talking about is Frosthaven. It's looks like I'll probably be playing Frosthaven solo. Why don't I like Talisman? I never played Talisman. I have a Talisman right over there. I went and I bought one. So, but I haven't played it yet. Um, I want to play it. It looks right up my alley. But I heard it's like a roll and move game. But I'll play it. So I can't say I like it or dislike it yet. I've never played it. I own a copy. I own the Fantasy Flight edition. So if ever there was a choice of which edition of a game to buy, and Fantasy Flight is one of the choices, I always get the Fantasy Flight. Like I got Wiz War. I got the Fantasy Flight one. Oh my God, it's got miniatures and great art on the card. But the problem with Fantasy Flight games is it was bought by Asmodee Games, and Asmodee Games was bought by like a hedge fund manager. Like they just buy companies and then gut them and sell them for a profit. I don't understand it. So they bought Worlds of Wonder, Asmodee, Fantasy Flight. I'm looking around, but they bought all of these companies, and then they just started messing with them, and so everybody from Fantasy Flight just quit. Like now, there's Peterson Games, there's other games, so Fantasy Flight is just not the same as it used to be. You know, I'm looking at my gigantic face. Won't somebody come in here so I can reduce the size of the screen so you don't have to see my face this big? Nobody wants to see that. So to answer your question, I don't dislike Talisman. I never played it, and I want to play it. So come on over, and we'll play. You know, what's the best number? Four people. You know, and it's funny because one of my favorite board games is, and I'm looking, and I don't see it. It's usually right there. Is Sons of Anarchy. I've never seen the TV show. I don't particularly care for like bikers who sell drugs kind of thing. But this board game is just fabulous. It's such a good board game. And they reskinned it into a Dungeons & Dragons. That's over here. Hidden Vault of Treasure or something like that. And it's not as good. It's not as good. It works better as Sons of Anarchy. The system itself is so good. The Dungeons & Dragons one is okay. It's overly complicated, but not in the way that I like. And then it doesn't have clerics and it doesn't have rogues. And that was going to be the expansion. But the expansion got canceled because it didn't sell too well. So to me, it's an incomplete game. It drives me nuts. Just like Sons of Anarchy was going to have an expansion with the Irish gang. And it never came out. But this name of this company is Gale Force 9. And Gale Force 9 takes IPs and makes games out of them. And they're awesome. They made this. It's right over here, this Doctor Who game. I don't know if you can see it. You can kind of see it right there, Doctor Who. It's awesome. It is awesome. Awesome game. They did Sons of Anarchy. It's great. Firefly. It's great. Spartacus. It's so good. It's so good. So anything Gale Force 9, I would recommend. Right behind me, too, I think this is them, is the Warriors. The Warriors. I only played that once with my buddy Jeff. He loves the Warriors, so we played it once. But I think that's a game. It's a cooperative game, and it was just real easy with two players. I think you need to play it like four. The thing about cooperative games is the more players, the harder they get, because when you have one player, you're making all the decisions like in unison with yourself. Two players, there's only two people, and and if I have a great idea, I could persuade one person, or if he has a great idea, he could persuade me. But if you have four people, everybody wants to do the coolest thing, and it kind of makes it difficult. So that's why I like cooperative games with like at least four people. So come on, for nobody's coming in. This will be the first time it's clobbering time by myself. Nobody wants to come in. So 25 minutes I've been talking already about games and the future of comics. Oh, so I was just talking with Tonic Bowl today about Eddie is Doomed. He is just working through that. So Oscar is doing a few more coloring projects with other people. I'm not the only person Oscar works for. He's just so talented. So when he's all caught up, he's going to just start drawing his portions. He drew 2 pages of Eddie is Doomed just as a test, and it looks so good. You know what? I'm gonna I'm going to bring up Oscar's 2 pages of Eddie is Doomed. So we're going to see the first 3 pages of Eddie is Doomed because they're colored. They're not lettered, obviously. Oh, come on. Why doesn't this want to open up? Okay. There we go. Oh, 1 page is lettered. I'll show you that. And then there we go. Hey Matthew, how you doing? Hey, once was cool. How you doing? How's everything? Good to see you. Eddie's Doomed. Colors. Why is it taking forever to load? Okay, so I'll show you this. So this is a cover for the Golden Age Bikini Girl. Oh, it's not showing. Okay, there we go. So Oscar drew and colored this because we would test it out, art style stuff. So this is a cover to imagine, a comic in Eddie is Doomed. So this will be like a pin-up poster for the Golden Age Bikini Girl. This is the Silver Age Bikini Girl. There's Silver Age and there's Golden Age. So that is something to look forward to. What is this? Okay, so okay. Riveting entertainment, isn't this riveting? Watching me look for files, but I wanted to show this. Okay, so this is page 1 of Eddie is Doomed, and it's supposed to be like a spoof on a Crisis on Infinite Earths. So this is the multiverse is rich with infinite variety, filled with universes, each one unique and awash in beauty. The uncountable planets circle glowing stars, shining in unforgiving space. Life flourishes, ignorant of the oncoming doom. Behold, the Doom Keeper. Doomed Earth, the new maxi series from Top Comics. You don't want to miss out on the biggest comic event of all time. So like Rom, the first page, the splash page, was also an advertisement. That's what that is. So that page is going to be inserted in all of Top Comics, and Eddie is going to be like, "What's going on?" So Top Comics is the fictional comic book company within the world of Eddie is Doomed. So, and that's going to be the first page of that. So that's the first page, and then we got page 2. So that was drawn by Oscar, colored by Oscar, and this is the real world. This is Eddie. Just reading comics, get ready for work. So this is drawn by Tonic Bowl. So Eddie lives in the basement, just waking up, going to work. So you see, it's going to be 2 art styles because 2 artists, basically 2 stories in one. Hey, 58 Underground, how you doing? How's it going? All right, I've been talking for a half hour, so we will start with It's Clobbering Time. Philip, looks like nobody's showing up. That's cool. I started this early because I'm invited to other people's streams. So first and foremost, Happy New Year and everybody. My New Year's resolution is to stay out of drama, stay positive, and focus on comics. So far, I managed to go most of the year so far living my resolution. I haven't broken it yet. It's gonna be so I'll drink some coffee to that. There we go. So what are your resolutions? If you feel like saying them, put them in the chat. And once again, I will put up the link if anybody wants to come in. So It's Clobbering Time kind of strayed from its purpose. Its purpose was to be, argue about who would win in fights, stuff like that. Then we kind of strayed and everything. So this is, I was hoping other people would show up, but we just talk about what our favorite comic of the year was and battle that out. So, and then next week we're going to go back to regular, purpose of It's Clobbering Time is characters battling. So what was your favorite comic of the year? Put it in the chat. Now, keep in mind, I quit Marvel and DC in 2015, so odds are I'm not going to have any Marvels, DCs. I didn't read the Absolute, so I heard they're good. I really want to read the Conan, the new Conans. So my favorite comics of the year are going to be independents. I got to say, Wolf of Batsy 13, that came out this year. Really bizarre story by Brian Bow. Wolf is a werewolf, ferocious werewolf. Batsy's a cute vampire girl. And it's a really interesting story about a girl and her boyfriend going to buy magic mushrooms, and the creepy uncle throws them underground, and they go underground and they get trapped and they fight a gigantic were-rat. It's just like, it sounds ridiculous, but then again, it's a monster comic. It was so much fun. So check that out. Also, a Horace H. Hoover 3 came out at the beginning of the year. That's one, and that is available right now on Kickstarter. Might as well look that up too. While I'm talking, might as well help my friends out. That is still funding. I think there's only 4 more days yet left for Horace H. Hoover. Why can't I find Kickstarter? I was just on it. So, of course, I'm not going to talk about my own comic. That's just, that's for you guys to decide if it's the best. So here we go. I'll put this link in the chat. And we got Horace H. Hoover, and I will bring up Horace H. So I got to stop with the Eddie is Doomed. Oh, we got a guest. Let me bring up Horace H. Hoover, and then I will bring up the guest. How you doing, Arkham?
How's it going?
Good. So I'm just talking about my favorite comics of the year. Well, this is Horace H. Hoover 4. This is on Kickstarter. It's available right now. But Horace H. Hoover 3 came out at the beginning of the year, and that's one of my favorite comics of the year. I really, really would like more backers for this. This is such a sleeper hit, such an insane concept. He's an occult investigator in New York City in the 30s. So it's part Hellboy, part humor, part Scooby-Doo, part Lovecraft, and all original. Fabrizio does it all. He writes, he draws, he colors, he letters, he packages, he designs, and he ships. It's unbelievable. And what is he doing right now while he's waiting? He's binding his own books. This guy's, and he sculpts. He's just a multi-talent. I think he even plays instruments. Don't you hate people that talented, Arkham? You're one of those people. You can play instruments, and you can sculpt, and you can draw. Yeah, you're one of them. They're talented people too.
The problem with that with me is my short-term attention span is I don't get to concentrate long enough into mastering a specific art. I'm decent at everything. Fabrizio he's way up there, so he's really done well.
Fabrizio is one of these people who's good at everything. I'm good at nothing, but he's good at everything. And your art is really, really good. This is, for those of you who don't know, Arkham is drawing a story, and when he's finished with that story, I got another story. So I'm piling work on this poor guy.
I'm trying to paint. I don't know how well it's going, but I'm trying to make that into a paint an explosion in the background.
Okay.
So I'm trying to learn how to paint, and so I can start doing my own art a bit, instead of just drawing in black and white, throwing it out there and go, that's what I could do,
Well, I mean, like Fabrizio does his own coloring. Brian Bow, I think, is working on another project where he's coloring also the young Neko. So like he's got Wolf of Batsy, then he's got another one of his own projects, and that one's going to be in color. Wolf of Batsy's in black and white because he wants it to look like an old black and white horror movie. But a lot of these guys could just color. And Oscar, he could color. I think he's one of the best colorists. And then you saw his art.
Yeah, you can draw too.
Oh my God! And then he put that mesh on it to make it look like old newsprint. So good. So I that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Well, Patriarch 1 is coming out. Renzo's burning through it. He's doing so good. With the King Fu is gotten bumped. I would like to do that. I'd like to do a Christmas story every year. I got 3 stories planned. This year it's going to be King Fu, Blue Christmas. Next year it's going to be Arkham's drawing it. It's going to be the Magi. I don't want to tell the whole title. I don't want to give too much. And then the third year it's going to be Santa Claus. Patriarch meets Santa Claus. But I have to do the Wise Man story first, so you understand the Patriarch meets the Santa Claus story. Everything's kind of connected. And then Eddie is doomed. So I'm hoping to have 3 projects. Now, the secret sci-fi project, I don't want to announce who I'm working with. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. So I can't give a time frame on that. And that's wholly separate. That's its own thing. That's not part of Longbox. I mean, it's Longbox Comics, but it's not part of like the Patriarch superhero world.
Yeah, it's not part of your chronology of the
right.
series.
It's the premise of that is like we want to do like a Warren magazine, like humorous sci-fi version. So it's kind of silly sci-fi stories, like almost like if Mad Magazine did sci-fi stories anthologies. That's
gotcha.
Yeah. And then I'm working on a full-on horror story that the premise disturbed. 3 artists refused it because the premise is so disturbing. So we'll see. Have I ever heard of Matt Rhodes' Dead Gods? I heard the title before. I didn't know.
I tried to introduce you to that a couple months ago. I was super excited for it.
Is it out?
I believe the Kickstarter's out. Dead Gods, it is exactly up our alley.
It's on Kickstarter?
I believe it is. I saw it on YouTube first.
All right, so I'll look it up on Kickstarter.
So what he's doing is he's making his own comic book series, but it's biblical, but it takes place before the major biblical stories, back when the world had races on it that weren't brought in by God. You know what I mean? It's really interesting. I want to really see what he delivers. I am 100% on board.
Well, I don't think it's on Kickstarter. Is it on Indiegogo, baby?
I don't know. Like I said, I found it on YouTube randomly, and I'm like, oh, the art's beautiful. The designs are absolutely beautiful. The designs are there alone will make me buy that series. It looks really good. If you love Conan, you're going to love it.
Oh, I thought I just turned off the stream. I thought I hit the wrong button.
So
not,
dead
dogs, not Dead Dogs. Dead Gods. Something showed up for Dead. Okay. Nope. I don't know. If anybody has a link to it, send me the link. I'd like to check it out. But I kind of like the title. So anyway, we're tonight's topic is going to be your best comics of the year. Anything you want to? Since you're the guest, I always like to let the guest talk first.
Whoa, what was that? I would definitely say Space Ghost, almost the top 5. It's been a surprising year. 24, I wouldn't have given you 5. Space Ghost, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Geiger, Red Coat. I would definitely say Red Coat, and probably Rook.
Yeah, I got to catch up on Rook. I'm just waiting. I'm Christmas spending and stuff like that. So this month I didn't put in an order for back issues. So next month I'll put in an order for back issues, and I'll get caught up on Rook. I think I'm missing issue 3. I think I read the first 2 issues, and like I said, the first issue I was like, I like it, but I don't like it, And then everybody says it gets better and better. So I think maybe I only read issue 1 now. I'm starting to think about it. Oh, we got people popping up. We got people popping up. We got the Patriarch himself, Crenshaw.
Purple people popping up.
Yeah, purple people popping up.
Purple people leaders.
And we got Matthew Craig. How you doing? So tonight's it's Clobbering time. Like I said, Marcus is dealing with a family emergency. His father fell down and broke his hip on Christmas Eve.
Oh,
Jeez.
yeah, that's
Oh, and to bring everybody down, I told a few stories that I would drive back out to Flushing and take care of an old lady that was my neighbor. She was in her 90s. Well, she went to the hospital like 4 months ago, and nobody was telling me where she was. So I've been calling people, calling hospitals and stuff. I finally found out where she was, and she died last month. So
I'm sorry to hear that,
I
dude.
didn't even get the chance to visit her. My wife started crying, and I'm like kind of pissed because like the apartment complex, I lived there for 15 years. They knew I was taking. They're like, we can't tell you, you're not family. I'm like, she has no family. That's why I'm taking care of her. So she probably died alone in a hospital. I feel miserable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, just to bring everybody down, Happy New Year.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick around as long as I can while my wife is watching the first Avatar with our boy. So
The cartoon or the movie?
the movie. I saw the newest one a few days ago. I hate these movies. I hate them. So that's why they're watching it and I'm not. So
I will
Are
recommend
we
the
talking
cartoon.
about the ones about the magic people or the ones about the aliens?
The alien magic people.
Oh, I run right to Avatar: The Last Airbender.
no, Disney's Pocahontas in Blue is what I call it.
Okay,
I
I
actually liked the first one, but I didn't even watch the second one.
I'll go ahead and say the second and third were better than the first one, but I don't like any of them. Yeah.
My wife and I went to go see the first one. I don't think I've seen the second one, but we
I
saw
haven't seen the second or third one either.
and we went in 3D because we wanted to see the spectacle. I'll say it was beautiful to watch, but it was
Yeah, same with the newest one. It's really a beautiful, like the action scenes and stuff. I enjoyed those. I got lost in those. But as soon as it switched to like the family drama and stuff, I hate the Navi. They're not pleasant to look at. They're annoying for me to look at. I don't want to have to look at these ugly things for an entire movie. And then but just the family drama is just so shallow and like WB quality writing.
right. The writing is terrible. I'm harsh on writing because to me, writing is the cheapest part of books, novels, comics. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I look at myself. I'll sit and write stuff. You know what I mean? Like, but like to get a script, okay, it costs a lot of money for actors, for a director, for the sets, the costumes, stuff like. But a script is just a guy on a typewriter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So the script should be the best part of any story. And I that Avatar movie, it was just the bad guy was one dimensional. It was, we want your stuff, we're gonna kill you. It was like.
Yeah.
And then he even called it Unobtainium. It was just so.
That name was horrible.
It was so like low effort,
Yeah, I mean, it's basically if you've seen, I would check out the action sequences, but if you've seen the first one, you've seen the second one, and you've seen the third one, as far as story goes.
I like
The
whole movie is Avatar, and the premise is we can project our consciousness into other bodies. That is a great premise, but they don't talk about it like this. The whole spiritualness of we can remove your consciousness and project it to other bodies. Every movie should be different worlds, different planets, different bodies exploring existential crisis. No, instead it's Indian Smurfs. We took your land. It's just it's just a way to say like America's wrong. Like no way. You have this great concept of removing the consciousness, putting it in another body, and then living a whole life as a different. That should be the movie. Every movie should be okay. We perfected this now we're going to go to another planet, but these people live under the sea and they have like amoeba bodies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like the sequel.
I will say in this one, they did. So there's like, not to spoil it for anyone, but you've seen there's bad Navi in this one.
Yeah.
So they do move into like, there's bad people who are natives as well. They're made worse, of course, by guns, but.
The funny thing is, the whole fire Navi just reminds me of a Far Cry game called Primal, where they had these Neanderthalic cavemen who painted themselves blue and used fire. They worship fire.
Hmm.
And this game's probably 20 years old almost. I was like, James.
Do I hear a dog?
Huh?
I heard a whimpering noise.
Oh, probably my cat. Sorry.
It's okay.
She's in heat.
But as we were leaving the
I
theater, I told my wife, I said, if they make another movie that ends with another calling of all nature to fight the big bad guy ship, I mean, that's pretty much what it is, you know. It's
My friend Jimmy is one of the cameramen on that show, so like, you know, on that movie, he pretty impressive guy. You know, we were, you know, we grew up together, and like we were like, I'm going to school to do this. I'm going. He's like, I'm not going to school. I hate school. I don't like school. I do bad in college, and so like I talked to him to go to college. He failed out in one semester, and then he was just like, everybody was graduating and getting jobs, and he was having like an existential crisis. And he's like, I want to work in Hollywood and work on films. And we were like, how do you do that? You know, I'm applying for construction work. Let's be construction. He's like, no. And he moved out to Hollywood, and he just found 4C studios. You know, that they made Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and stuff like that. And he just started showing up every day and going to work. He wasn't hired. He just showed up. And nobody knew who he was, so they started giving him jobs to do. And he was delivering pizza at night, and during the day, 6 o'clock, he was there in line, just unloading trucks, doing stuff. And then finally, they were like, "You don't work." Like he said, it was like 8 months, and the head of the studios was like, "You don't work here." He goes, "Yeah, I know. I want to be a cameraman." And so he was just like, "But you never missed a day's work. You're never late." So he hired him. And he made him an apprentice cameraman. And now, 20 years later, you know, he has a house. He was the cameraman for Duck Dynasty. He was the cameraman for that Greatest Warrior. You know, like who would win, a ninja or a knight? You know, you know.
So
And
he's the ultimate fake it till you make it story.
yeah, and you actually see him in a couple episodes, like in outfits and stuff. You know, because he's a big guy. So and then he worked his way up to He was what's his name's personal cameraman for a while. That big guy, motivational speaker.
Oh, Tony
Roberts. He was Tony Roberts' cameraman, and then he was just like, after a while, he's like, Tony, you got to pay me. You owe me like 6 months pay. And the guy was like hemming and hawing, so he left. You know, so he's like, Tony Roberts, piece of shit, doesn't pay his cameraman. And then he went, and now he's the cameraman for James Cameron. And it's funny because James Cameron, he's been working with him now since the first Avatar movie. He still thinks his name is Kevin. and he's like, Kevin. He's like, my name's Jimmy. He's like, okay, Kevin. but like pictures of like him and Sigourney Weaver hanging out talking. You know, he's like a fun, cool guy. So he's like, you know, he's talking with Sigourney Weaver, and everybody's like, you're not allowed to talk to her. And she's like, mind your own business. You know, he says she's pretty cool. And they all think the movie's a crap, but it's a paycheck.
Yeah.
Wait, is she in that movie?
What's that?
Is Sigourney Weaver in that movie?
Yeah, she's like the big star next to the main guy. You know, she's the scientist who invented all of that technology, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
I thought she hated aliens.
She's in one of the Navi bodies as a I would say a 13-year-old character, but they don't change her voice at all. So it's Sigourney Weaver, her voice that really throws off every scene her little character's in, because she's supposed to be like this, you know, like I guess at 13, 14, but it's Sigourney Weaver's old lady voice.
But Sigourney Weaver was a human in the first movie, like, and she's a Navi in the second. Did she go through that magic process where she transfers her consciousness into this?
If anyone hasn't seen it and doesn't want to, spoilers, everyone does.
Oh, yeah. So even the bad guy, what's his name?
Yeah. He's now a big blue giant running around.
Now, is he still a cool exploitation colonizer, or is he like?
Yeah,
Okay.
He's moved more into the revenge category. So,
yeah. But he was my favorite character. No surprise, you know.
Yeah.
And Stephen Lang's a beast, anyways. Almost anything he's in is worth watching.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, it was a spectacle to watch. I'll never watch it again. The story was just pathetic. You know, the redheaded businessman guy was just like, why did they just put horns on him and have him shoot fire out of his mouth? You know, he was just, you know, he had no.
Yeah, they moved from mining to whaling.
Oh, nice. So I made burritos. I was hoping Tony Grigo would show up because I ordered red sauce and green sauce from New Mexico. And I'm like, I've had them for a month. I want to use them before they go bad. So tonight's secondary topic of It's Clobbering Time is what's better, red chili sauce or green chili sauce?
What are you eating? What's the meat?
I made ground beef. One with, this is red chili that's already gone. This is green chili that I didn't eat yet. I love red chili. So for me personally, I love green chili sauce, but I love red chili sauce. And it's not salsa. People in New York, whenever I say red chili sauce, it has the consistency of marinara sauce, but instead of tomatoes that's ground up and powdered and whatever, it's red chilies. It's awesome.
For me, it's green chili is for chicken and shrimp.
Yep.
Red is always for steak and meat.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I will put green chili on meat, but yes.
Carne asada, if it's a good green chili, like it's not like super saturated with lemon or whatever. You know, a lot of people put too much lemon in their green chili, or they make the avocado salsa chili style. That's not so much for the green with carne asada. But if you have a nice green chili, seeded I like the seeds in my chili.
Where do you live?
I grew up in California. I'm half Mexican.
Oh, okay. I was like, wow, you know a lot about this. I only know about it because I lived in Albuquerque for 7 years.
No, I'm what's called a wet skin.
Okay.
I've never heard of that.
White.
You're up like in the north, right?
Yeah, I'm in Pacific North.
I also am half Mexican, but we also have a whole lot of Mexicans here in Boise. Yeah. I see videos of Californians moving into the area, and they're all complaining about there's no Mexican food around, and I'm wondering where they're going because every corner has a Mexican food truck, and it's like you guys are maybe heading into the wrong places because they're everywhere.
I am very what's the word I'm looking for? It's hit or miss for me with Mexican food. The best Mexican food my whole time when I was living up in Beaverton, Oregon, was from a carniceria Roach Coach.
Mm-hmm.
None of the restaurants around there. I had to go all the way to Milwaukee to get a good Mexican food. All the other places right here were all copy and paste. The basic fundamentals of turn and burn Mexican restaurants, they all tasted the same. I found one Roach Coach that when you taste their carne asada, you could taste the orange in it. When they put in for the seasoning and stuff, you could taste the garlic, the thyme, you could taste everything. It was perfect. Mexican food's really, I'm very harsh on Mexican food. I'm sorry.
Like I say this to people because I'm in New York now, and I spent most of my life in New York. But I wouldn't have known the difference either if I didn't live in Albuquerque. But in New York, when we say Mexican food, we're basically thinking of Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
In New Mexico, they have New Mexican food. So we could get Tex-Mex, which is what New Yorkers think, and we could get New Mexican food, and it's completely different. And then, believe it or not, you could get Mexican food, which I think everybody knows when you go to a Chinese restaurant, that's not what they're eating in China. That's American Chinese food.
Right.
You get Mexican food, that's really, really good. And then there's pockets, like if you go up in northern New Mexico, believe it or not, there's Aztec food. There's like a group of they call themselves mestizos, but like Indians that are like untouched, like a little tribe, and they make Aztec food. Like they still bury their food in clay pots under the ground. And there's no place in the world that I've found that is just this little Aztec culture food. And they use a lot of like chocolate. And, it's so freaking good. Then you go to California, and there's Southern California Mexican food,
Yeah, it's called Mexicali.
Yeah, Mexicali food.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love it all. The only thing is I eat shellfish. So
when I used to live on the reservation in Cali, we used to bury pig.
Yeah.
2 weeks. bury the pig, cook it underground.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff that,
Believe it or not, there was a Mexican family that they were the mother was Mexican, the father was Irish, so they could eat and drink. And I went to that house in Connecticut, and they buried the pig, and they made it, so it was just like, get the beer, get the potatoes, and then the buried Mexican pig. It was awesome, man. We ended up sleeping in our cars that night.
And I don't know if it's just me, but most half breeds like myself are Mexican Irish. Everybody I've talked to that's half Mexican, they're like, I'm Mexican Irish. Almost everybody.
I got German.
Oh, you're Mexican German?
Yeah.
Yeah, you basically started World War One then.
You actually invaded yourself too. People forget about Germans' occupation of Mexico during World War One.
Right, they had a treaty that they were trying to talk the Mexicans into invading the United States. That's why we got involved in the war. We didn't care about Archduke Ferdinand.
Try to convince all the guys on the job sites that the tuba music and stuff they listen to, it's Germany. It's German music you guys are listening to.
It's literally polka.
Yep.
It really is.
It is funny because I when I lived in New Mexico, one of my buddies out there was his grandfather was born in Tibet, China, and during that whole bad news with China invading Tibet, they fled and went to Hawaii. So his father was born in Hawaii before Hawaii was a state, and he grew up listening to Hank Williams. So like, it's funny if you listen to old school Hawaiian music, it's American country western music, and then it later on became like with the hula music that you think now. But he's like, you go to his father's house, who's sadly not around anymore, and he puts on old Hawaiian music, and you're like, it sounds like Hawaiians aping Hank Williams. He said they loved that as a kid.
Ironically, I was watching a documentary last night. It was a sit and talk with Deadwood cast.
Oh, okay.
Because I really love to hear their conversations, especially when it comes to trying to remember that dialogue, because that dialogue in that show is the best. I mean, nobody's watched Deadwood. Go watch it. Even if you're not into Westerns, just for the dialogue alone and the way David Mitch writes in that show is on one of the best writing I've ever heard for dialogue. Besides that, when I was watching it, and I totally sidetracked myself. What did I begin with?
Oh, you were watching the documentary, and I said something about Hawaiian music.
Oh yeah. Wu, the actor Wu, he's a big country guy. He sings country and everything. I did not know that.
The funny thing about this actor, in the show, he plays Mr. Wu, and his only word is cocksucker.
Yeah, but he's a big country singer fan.
Like if you were to imitate Mr. Wu, you would be canceled because it's like really bad Chinese. And then you see the actor. There was a documentary in the DVDs. I got the DVD, and he's like, so anyway, I was at Juilliard performing with this, and he's just this, and then it's like, Mom, I got the part, and then you see that he's like, no ticky, no shirty, But he's one of the best characters. He literally only says cocksucker, but and then Swearingen, he repeats it back to him, but they have whole conversations just on tone of voice and mannerisms, and they understand, and they're like, how the hell do you two understand each other? It's pretty funny. My wife used to be like, yeah, Mr. Wu is in this episode.
It's like, God damn it, Wu, I ain't as smart as hell. I don't know all that jibber jabber.
Yeah, it's a great show, but it just drives me nuts that the 4th season got canceled, and then they just made a 2-hour movie just to finish the story, and it's just not the same.
No,
like Powers Booth died, everybody looked older. But anyway, we've been talking for an hour, so it's clobbering time. What does anybody have a favorite comic of the? I already talked about Wolf and Batsy, Horace H. Hoover. So Arkham, you talked about a few things. Crenshaw, what's some of your favorite comics of the year? They can be anything, even if it's an old comic that you just read this year.
Horace H. Hoover, I got to go with. That's one of the top. I got the.
Oh, that is one of my favorites. I've been gushing about that comic.
Fan of the Crow this
I
year was
brought it up because my failing memory would have forgotten it.
yeah
But
from the start, from his the what was the early release that he did of the first half, and his packaging, everything about this book is amazing.
How is he making it? Like I have to wonder if he's just doing it as a labor of love because it's so cheap. Like the
Yeah.
price is cheap. It's
Mhm.
it's inexpensive. Let me put it that way. But it's painted. It's a full on fantasy world. Like I have a feeling that we just scratched the surface of this world. It is. I really like it by far. That was the best crowdfunded comic book, and I don't even feel bad because I think my friends who if they read it, I think they would agree.
Yeah.
That Band of Crows. What's it? Averid, is that his name? Who's the,
Arvid Nelson, and Oren is the artist.
yeah? The art is good. The storytelling is good. It is a flawless comic. And then I'll put Wolf and Batsy, Horace H. Hoover. This was a good year for comics. Especially if you're an indie fan. Oh man, there was some good stuff.
Another one that I really enjoyed this year that I got was the Star Noir.
Oh, I never heard of that.
He's the guy who what's his name? Tony James. He's not on X anymore. He used to be, but it's basically a 1940s or late 30s, maybe 40s crime detective story where this detective here has to team up with an alien to solve a murder having to do with aliens trying to, attack things.
That sounds awesome.
The art is, let me see if I can open it up. The art is absolutely gorgeous. Let's see, who's the artist here. Art is by Pablo de Bonis. So I'll just go with the first.
Yeah, that looks great. Yeah. Oh, good.
The coloring is beautiful. Let me see if I can find it. But story-wise, really solid. He's. I think the third book. I think the campaign just closed recently.
Could you send me a link in DMs so I can check this out? Because if you put it in chat, I'll put it in chat so other people can check it. But if you put it in chat, I won't find it after the video.
Sure thing. Yeah, I should show you. One of the things I really love, I really look for in artists, comic artists, is when they can do more subtle human emotions. But like this.
Yeah,
that's a great facial expression.
You know what's funny? I just had my conversation with my son about that last night, about the lack of facial expression when it comes to American comics nowadays. It's just always scream, crazy angry faces.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little comic skit I showed my son. It was Professor Zoom grabbing Lex Luthor, screaming at him for something, and Lex is like, no. And he goes, and he just slaps his face really fast. And then the expression on Lex's face is so hilarious. Like, did that just happen? Yeah, it did. And the expression, I think it was Keith Giffen. Was he the writer or the artist? I forget.
Keith Giffen wrote, but if it's Kevin Maguire, then it was
Kevin Maguire. Yeah.
He elevated artists. Like after Kevin Maguire, artists got to work with facial expressions.
Yeah, I had to show my son. I was like, dude, this is how you do comic books to express feeling without having to write it. Just the look on his face showed the utter defeat and bewilderment that he just got super speed bitch slapped by Professor.
And it's Lex Luthor. You're hitting me? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's in a super suit too. And Bond just has him. Is just like, where is it? I was just like, that was hilarious.
So now that you made me think of it, put some facial expressions on those guys wandering around the cave.
I have the one where he's trying to question if the apple might be poisonous. If you look at his face, I made it very questioning.
Yeah.
Without trying to make it too comical, of course.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
So, Crenshaw, you got any more? Oh, can we go to
yeah, let me do one more real quick.
Okay.
And this was, it's not so much a comic, but where did I think I just dropped it?
It's not so much a comic as it's
I mean, it's a collection of Madman pinups and
oh, there's a guy who can
covers.
draw facial
Oh,
expressions.
nice.
Mike Allered, he can draw facial expressions. So
But
good.
it was a crowdfunder this year of 3D versions. It's the best. Like when I was young, I was so into 3D stuff. You know, anything that came with 3D glasses, I wanted it. But you know, it never looked super great. This is amazingly clear. This
Yeah,
back
he's such a
cover.
cool guy. He's been on my channel, and I just thought he was the coolest guy.
Yeah. This back cover has. I don't know if you could see how many layers there is to that.
Yeah.
You can see the depth. There's probably 8 different layers, and you could see each layer as a different, you know, dimension of your view. And I've never seen 3D as good as this.
I asked him if he would do a cover for me. He's like, "Oh yeah, sure." But and he gave me his friend price, which I'm not going to disclose, but it was a little out of my range, you know. But I said, "You are so worth it." But maybe someday I'll be able to afford. So that's one of my goals. That's my stretch goal, everybody. Super chat so we can get a Mark Allered variant.
But you know, he's got his covers from, I think you got Toth, and you got Frazetta's got one in here. Frank Miller, you got Bruce Timm. Like there's so many just
legends. Every one of these people.
Fantastic. So that's another one.
That is so good. Matthew, do you have any favorite comics of the year?
Last year, let me think. Probably that Radiant Black.
Radiant Black. That's Image Comics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I've been hearing good stuff about it. I didn't. Do I have it? I think I might have an issue. Sometimes I'll do that. I'll buy like a random issue, like the next one that's being solicited, just to remind me. Get the other ones because I'm thinking about it. I'll order it right then and there. But Radiant Black, it's a sci-fi comic, right?
It's kind of like a grittier Power Rangers.
Oh, I'm totally I know the comic you're talking about. I definitely didn't read it then. I definitely did not read it. If it's like Power Rangers, speaking of Power Rangers, I got to get Yellow Flash's book. I thought I ordered it. Have you done that? We all have got to have done. You thought you backed a book and then you found out that you didn't.
Oh yeah.
Cooper is one of my friends. He thought he backed my comic and then he messaged me, John, I never got my book. I was like, you never ordered it.
I put that link to Star Noir in there.
Cool.
Or you forget you backed one and suddenly it shows up.
I love that. And it's funny. Oh, we got radio stories now. Just stopping in to say hi because I know the dude Crenshaw. There you go.
Hey, how you doing, Radio Stories?
How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. I want to click on this link that you sent me so I can check out the campaign. Maybe I'll bring it up.
Yeah, but
it's funny because sometimes like something will come in the mail like I didn't order this. Oh, this guy sent me a copy. How did he get my address? And I have all these conflicting emotions like, oh, thank you. This guy knows my address. That's weird. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I backed it.
Another book that I actually was reading recently that I really enjoyed. I started reading rereading, I guess, Sandman Mystery Theater.
Oh my God, that's one of my favorite comics of all time.
I just got through the first story arc and about halfway through the second, and yeah, just so good.
If I remember correctly, it was written by Matt Wagner, the whole series, right?
Mm-hmm.
All I think 85 issues or 75 issues, but Matt Wagner stopped drawing it early, and why can't I think of his name? Took over Guy Davis.
Let me see if I can look and see.
Guy Davis took over. He did BPRD for Hellboy, and I remember like looking at his art is it takes a minute to get used to. It's like very scratchy, or not scratchy, but like I don't know.
He did the first story in here, and then someone else took over after that. Let me see if I can.
Guy Davis, man, I love his artwork. I love Guy Davis. And I think Guy Davis left towards the end, and I was like so disappointed. It's very there's nobody like Guy Davis. Their artwork. Yeah, that is one of my favorite comics of all time. You know, and I like that why can't I think of the girlfriend's name now? You know, his lifelong love, his Lois Lane, his Margot Lane.
Oh yeah. What is her name?
You know,
Let me see.
they were not married, but they were like common law. But she is a great character too. You know,
So
like a girl boss, she's a partner.
get to some of the Guy Davis art if I can.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love that artwork. It's like so old fashioned. It's perfect for that. Perfect. And it's funny because like he draws a woman, she's supposed to be beautiful, and you're like, she kind of looks frumpy, but that's
Yeah, we'll do this one, a full on.
Yeah, it just fits. I love that gas mask with the hose and he's spraying people in the face.
Yeah, I've been enjoying that though. I'm gonna get more into further along in that soon.
In my role playing game, I totally ripped off the Sandman. You know, you could do that when it's just you and your 4 friends playing. You know what I mean? And I had a bad guy named Professor Gaslight, and he had the gas mask and the hat and everything like that. And he was a creep, but I can't put him in the comics. He's a blatant ripoff of the Sandman.
John Watkiss takes over for a while.
Okay.
R.G. Taylor. So, yeah.
I will say that one of my Band of Crows, Wolf and Batsy, Horace H. Hoover, and I will also recommend John Dexter's Dime Store Detective.
I'm waiting for that one.
I think there's 4 issues out of 6 that are already came out, and I think it's one of the best written comics ever. You know, it's a detective story. It's told in flashback. The kid's grown up, the kid's a kid, and then there's demonic possession. So it's a supernatural. Like the only thing to compare it to would be the first season of True Detective. I didn't see the second season. I heard so many bad things about it, and I'm so tired of watching 6 episodes of a show and then finding out it just turns into complete ass. Like I just wasted 6 hours. So lately I've been waiting for things to be done, and then I hear people's reactions. Then I'll watch them.
Yeah,
you know.
I had a couple ideas for stories, and I don't know what I'll do with them, but I've got 2 ideas for stories, and I'd like to run them by you guys.
Okay, go ahead. You got 5 minutes. Go.
Story number 1 is a unique take on alien invasion taking place between World War I and World War II.
Okay.
Story number 2 is basically Dawn of the Dead but slower.
So the zombies don't run.
No, I mean like the infections move slower, so the military actually has a chance to fight back.
Okay. All right.
So that's just at the beginning of the outbreak?
Something like that, yeah. And they aren't going to be reanimated dead, they're going to be ghosts.
Oh,
I call it Ghost Town.
Okay.
And the other one I call Colony 13 because the aliens take over 13 towns.
Okay. All right. Alien invasions, ghosts, pretty good. You should make
2 different stories, but I don't know which one to go with.
I like the idea of a ghost spreading. I mean, like a zombie infection. That's kind of, if you can make it work, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. Ghosts. How do you fight them? You know what I mean? What do you do? Iron maybe is not like the traditional way to get rid of ghosts. Iron or
I got salt, iron, stuff like that. And light I added because kids don't like to be in the dark, so I figured light will scare away ghosts.
So Zach 10 has a comic book idea. Some meta event happens in Minnesota, and some heroes are born along with a lot of wacky daycare villains. Yeah, there you go.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I don't want to get political, but I had lunch with my friend Paul yesterday, and he just had Christmas and New Year's with his brother-in-law, and his brother-in-law is an Obama voter. He has no idea what's going on in Minnesota. He just watches CNN and CNBC. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know that.
It's unbelievable. I'm not even joking. I'm not exaggerating. Elon Musk buying Twitter is one of the turning points in recent American history. This, we would have Kamala Harris as president, and that Tim Walz would be the vice president. It would just be the
We
United.
would be in Europe right now.
Yeah. Garfield's Bizarre Adventure says Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Garfield. You won't get banned here for saying whatever you want, Garfield. Let's just say that. He was recently banned on another channel for voicing his opinion. I permanently banned somebody, and one of the last things he goes, "This is censorship," and he's quoting the Constitution. And I didn't think of this, but one of the Bill of Rights guarantees us the right to assembly, and it's one of the forgotten rights. We have the right to assemble with whoever we want, and we have the right to not assemble with whoever we want. I choose not to assemble with that person. Your right for freedom of speech, say whatever you want, but you don't have to associate. You don't have the right to access to me, and I don't have the right to access to any of you people. We have the freedom to associate with people. So I know you're watching this right now, and your head's screaming because you just found out that you're banned. But just remember, you do not have the right to access to a private individual. When this channel accepts government funds, then you could cry censorship. But right now, I don't. This is me and my friends hanging out. Me shutting the door and not letting you in my house is not censorship. So
you could also quote the what was it? No quartering of soldiers law.
Well, he's not a soldier. He would be kicked out. But here's my little miniature. I'm
just throwing it out there.
Yeah, but the right to freedom of assembly is because when I was a school teacher, public school teacher, you have to join the union, and you have to pay union dues. No, let me say, you have to pay union dues, but you don't have to join the union. And some guy in California sued and won that he didn't have to pay. And I remember everybody was freaking out, and I was just like, this is a public job. You can't make, if Crenshaw opens up a mechanic shop and says this is gonna be a union shop, and I go to him and he says you have to join the union, that's one thing. That's his private business. He can make the rules. But a public office, like school, working for like a Catholic school, you have to, they'll fire you if you're not Catholic or whatever. They got rules. That's a private institution. But once you're receiving tax money and public funds, how can you make me join a union? How can you make me associate or not associate? You know what I mean? Like same thing. Like you can't join a union. No, I have freedom of assembly. But you think school teachers would know the Constitution? But I was the only guy in the building that it's like, yeah, you can't force somebody to join a union in the public.
What? You see, it's not your union; it's our union.
Well, a union is a private organization, but public schools is a government institution. It's a public institution. You can't, you shouldn't, you are not allowed. You constitutionally, you can't force somebody to join a private organization to get a public job.
I was joking.
Oh, yeah, okay. You had a
it was a communism joke.
You commie. Speaking of commies, we day 2 under the beloved warmth of collectivism here in New York.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have a fan who supports that guy.
A lot of those Somali daycares we see, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I would say that 90% of all our tax money is fraud. It's waste.
Yep.
And everybody say we should stop paying taxes. How?
Yeah.
How? It comes out of my paycheck. How am I going to stop?
If it doesn't come right out of your paycheck, it comes at the point of a gun.
Yeah. I would love to. But this has nothing to do. Oh, well, this is a good conversation. I kind of ran out of time topics anyway.
Taxes are being used wisely in ways to train shrimp how to walk on a treadmill.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that video, by the way?
No.
It's a real thing.
I'm sure.
Tax money paid for.
According to this little constitution here, the only thing the government can do is the federal government is a military, deliver the mail, and courts of law. Anything else is unconstitutional. And did you know the federal government's not allowed to own any land unless it is forts and ports?
Unless it's what?
And 40 square miles for Washington, D.C. So all of these federal parks, like Nevada is 80% federal parks. So in a way, there's no state of Nevada. You know, if the federal government can't own it. But anyway. Also, textiles went towards the pigeon and slot machines. Yep. Public schools are not for everyone. We need more public charter schools outside. Absolutely.
I don't understand what pigeons and slot machines mean.
They used pigeons and they went towards pigeon slot machines. They did all these experiments with pigeons and then slot machines. They used birds to predict the weather. I don't know what they did with slot machines, but I would be surprised if they bought slot machines in a way to raise. I mean, look at the tax money that the New York State Lottery is supposed to fund the public schools. That's how they sold it. How come when I was a school teacher I didn't have chalk? I had to go and buy my own chalk. Yeah, everybody buys lottery tickets.
Wow.
My buddy yesterday, he went to drop his girlfriend off, and she lives on 34th Street in Manhattan. He had to pay almost $30 in congestion pricing to drop his girlfriend off.
Ridiculous.
And I remember they were putting congestion. We're going to put a congestion tax. And they had people like cheering, like, we finally did it. I'm like, you're a blue collar worker. Like, this is going to make every deli more expensive. They have to get deliveries of eggs. They got to get, butter. They got to get bread. What do you think they're all those trucks are going to pay for this tax? And, now your egg sandwich, which is expensive enough in Manhattan, is just going to go. How can any common person be cheering another tax on the middle class? Yay. They were studying
in my hometown.
Gambling. Yeah. That's what it was on.
But yeah, if in my hometown they tried to get some new tax for the schools, and they shut that. The people voted it down, and then there was this big re-education, basically, to convince people that, hey, this is a good thing, and it passed the second time.
Yeah. We're going to keep running it through the courts. We're going to keep running it through until we get the result we want. Do you know in Italy, you could be tried for the same crime over and over and over again?
That's like double jeopardy.
Right. In the United States, like, what's her name? I forget that girl that was accused of killing her boyfriend, an American. And
Casey Anthony?
No.
That's someone else.
No. She was absolved of it. And then they were immediately starting up another trial. So while she was free, she came to America, and she's like, just staying out of Italy. They're gonna keep having trials till we get the result that we want, or at least bankrupt you in the meantime. Anybody have anything else to talk about? Like we just like talk about politics.
Yeah.
So let me ask the chat now. People, are you bored? Do you want us to change the subject? And also, please, what would you like to do for It's Clobbering Time next week? I want to get back to the purpose of the show, to geeky fights and things like that. So anybody have any suggestions? I don't know. I want to do Hellboy versus somebody. Who is a good Hellboy verse?
I think I've used up all my good suggestions. You'd like the Hellboy, the Demon Etrigan.
Yeah,
you did that one. That was one of mine.
Yeah, we did that one a long time ago. You cannot apply logic, reason, or actual morality to the Marxist. Yeah, because Marxism is emotional based. It's emotional based. This is like this is like all these collectivists. They're just like, oh, when this communism finally gets adopted, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna work on my garden, and then and then I'm gonna do poetry. They think like everything's just free, and like, oh, so the collective provides for all of your needs, but you get to individually decide what you want. Like, they're so stupid. They don't realize, no, the collective provides for all you need, and the collective decides what you do. You don't get to
pick. And the collective keeps everything extra.
No, like, you don't get to decide. Like, you get to decide to be a poet. No, we need you out there in the mud building buildings.
What worries me about about collectivism is the government will keep anything you don't need, any extra, and give you only the food you need and nothing extra.
Well, look at California. Look at Scott Adams. You know, his medical insurance basically gave him suicide as an option. Look,
yeah,
look at,
that's come to my home state.
you go to Canada right now. The number one cause of death in Canada is medically assisted. What do they call it? Medical assistance in death. Yeah, Robin versus Bucky is a good one. Battle of the Sidekicks is a really good one. Bucky,
Well, I got one.
Bucky versus Robin. How about that one?
I got one.
Well, we're going to do Bucky versus Robin, but what's yours?
Damien from The Omen versus Raven.
Damien's not a comic book character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've every week when you, I try to think of someone that the Flaming Carrot could fight, and I just haven't come up with something.
A Flaming Carrot versus what's his name? The world's toughest milkman.
Oh yeah.
The flaming carrot versus milk and cheese.
There you go. They're both food, so they're all food.
No, no, flaming carrot versus somebody like Casey Jones. They're both not same power level.
I have a couple of Flaming Carrot comics. They're actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go. The Flaming Oscar has a good one. The Flaming Carrot versus Too Much Coffee Man.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That one's good.
What about
I forgot about Too Much Coffee Man.
When we say which Robin, I'm just gonna sue old school. We'll go the original Robin versus the original Bucky. You know, no Winter Soldier. Visual representation would be great. You grab two comics from your collection to put them against each other. That would be fun. That would be. My friend Paul wanted me to like just roll dice at random and then get a box of comics and then roll another dice and at random pull out a comic and then talk about that. But you know, that sounds like it would work, but it wouldn't really work. Madman versus somebody is a good one.
Yeah,
we did Madman versus somebody.
You did Madman versus Badger, which was another one of my suggestions.
Oh, Madman versus Badger was a good one. Have select Bronze Age characters fight woke age characters. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Old school backyard fight with Batman and Captain America cheering him in the background. Yeah.
I think the Robin and Bucky could, if you're using the Dick Grayson, you could also just carry it on into Nightwing and Winter Soldier.
We could level it up, like
Pokemon.
Yeah. Show us your oldest comics. I think I had a stack of all my oldest comics, and I was doing them on Sunday Comics, and then I just fell into this X-Men. So I just recently put them away. My oldest comic, if anybody's interested, is a Daredevil. No, my oldest comic is Millie the Model #1, and I don't know where it came from. It teleported into my collection. It's Millie the Model #1. It's 1940. It's in really good shape, and I did a video on it back when I only had like 15 viewers. I thought like, oh, everybody's gonna come running to see that, but one guy messaged me and said that comic is one of the few comics that's not in this like Gutenberg library of scanned comics. And he was like, "Will you mail it to us and we'll scan it?" And I was like, "No, I'm not mailing you this. So he's like, "Okay, fair enough. Will you scan it?" So how do I scan it? How do I scan it?
Yeah. I got a question for you, John. Was it 2 weeks ago? Maybe I was watching a Clobbering Time, and I had made a comment. I posted a comment having to do with Scud, the disposable assassin.
Yeah, I don't really know much about him.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Is you haven't really read? I just read like last year. I read the whole collection, and I got to say it's excellent.
That's why can't I? Valdez, is that his name? What? Jonan Valdez, is that the author?
Oh boy, you're asking the wrong. I'm so bad at remembering.
Because the funny thing is, when I lived in Albuquerque, my roommate had a stack of comics that he didn't care about, and he left them in the bathroom, and that was our bathroom reading. And one of them was Scud. So I read one issue of Scud the Disposables over and over and over again. But when I moved out, I couldn't take them; they weren't my comics.
Yeah.
Take. You probably got Millie from one of you. That's what I think. I think I got it from a garage sale. Like I would buy collections from people, so I'm sure that's where it came from. It didn't just a 1940s comic just didn't materialize in my basement. Millie the model. But
Well, I'm gonna take off. I gotta go and deal with the kid. So thanks for letting me come on, John.
Yeah, anytime. You're always welcome. Anything you want to promote before you go?
Nah, I'm not streaming on a regular basis. I'm not making my little short reviews lately, which I need to get back into. I just work's been crazy, and I got stuff to do. So yeah, no, nothing.
I'm liking that microphone. I'll do I'll set up a Ko-fi. You guys buy me a microphone. I'll stop begging. Have a battle royale of latest public domain characters. I do like public domain characters, but
There you go.
I won't include them in anything. I like my toys. I have a friend that's making comic books based on all the public domain characters. But he's doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. They've been frozen in time for 40 years, and now they're coming out. Set them in the 40s. Just set them in the 40s. In hiatus. Garfield. Oh, what are you laughing at? That the ban in you? So Garfield, how's it going? Garfield was banned for not criticizing, but correcting people with saying the wrong thing on a channel, and he's like, "That's not what happened. This is not what happened." And they banned him. They don't want the truth. Quick question. Quick question. When Batman and Superman go public domain, what do you think will happen? Well, they'll make bad horror movies. Batman, this killer. Superman, serial killer. Batman, the cannibal. Because that seems to be the
Hang on. There actually is on YouTube a horror movie about Superman going nuts after Lois Lane, I guess, dumps him or something.
I don't know. I find that to be the lowest common denominator, like Popeye the Slayer band and stuff. What's his name is Sherlock Holmes is public domain, and people are making good stuff with Sherlock Holmes, but I think it's just like it's shock value. It's like, how can I grab attention? Oh, Mickey Mouse. Like Eric Larson put Mickey Mouse as basically a sexual deviant in Savage Dragon. Really disturbing.
That does not surprise me.
And I don't even like I don't like Mickey Mouse. I don't like the basic Disney characters. But even I don't want to see that done to Mickey Mouse. It's an American institution. So when Batman and Superman go public domain, I know Mark Millar says that he has scripts ready. He has Superman stories that he wants to tell, when all ready to go. So I trust him. He loves Superman. I think he's the biggest Superman fan on the planet. I don't think anybody knows more about Superman. He has claimed to have read every Superman comic in existence. And with his money, I'm sure he could afford to get them all. But I think there's going to be good. There's going to be bad. There's going to be garbage. There's going to be. I'm hoping that there's people who truly love these characters. Like Chuck Dixon wrote a Conan novel because he loves Conan. But if you want to write Batman like as a voying pedophile or something like that, then I don't want to read it. I don't care, But
Batman as a vampire is pretty interesting.
They already did it. Captain America.
I know, but that was pretty interesting.
So Oscar is. We were talking about Oscar earlier. I showed some of his artwork. Captain Arachnid is a character Oscar and I made up for Eddie is Doomed, and Oscar loves that character. And when Eddie is Doomed is done, Oscar, this is a promise. If it does well, I want to do stories of those characters that we made up. They are too good to be just one shots and forgotten about. So DC Miller was drawing a Bikini Girl story for me, and then I don't want to say it out loud, but I think something happened to DC Miller because he just went radio silence in September. If anybody knows him, I got his address. I've been calling his house. I've been writing him letters. I've been emailing him. There's no response, so I fear the worst. So I got that. So and then Oscar is going to do a Captain Arachnid story if things go as good as they can. Correct. They're the best place in their own area. Yes, I think the public domain characters, like, they should be in the 40s. Like even Alan Moore he had them on a spaceship, and at relativistic speed. So when the spaceship came to Earth, they were all in Tom Strong's era, or at the prime of their life. To me, that removes them. Like I don't know. Like the Shadow should only be in the 30s. I don't like Shadow in the modern time.
I hate to say it, but I kind of disagree with the concept that Tarzan should only be in the past, because he could work in a post-apocalyptic setting.
That's not Tarzan.
It's not.
The setting that if you need to change the setting, that's not the same character. It's Batman, but he's flying a spaceship, on Tatooine. That's not Batman. Batman's Gotham City. Tarzan is in the African jungle in like is it the Victorian era or the Elizabeth? Not the Victorian era. Anything else is not Tarzan to me. Like Sherlock Holmes, they placed a modern world. They turned him into a woman, but like, I don't know. I think Sherlock Holmes works best in what, Edwardian England? Is that the time? Am I mixing?
Well, yeah, I think most of the period people really work best within their own chronology, because that's how they were written to fit.
Right.
I do get you, but I just think a skilled enough writer could do it.
Yeah.
My opinion.
But okay, it's Tarzan, but he's in post-apocalyptic America. That's not Tarzan then. Tarzan is, you can't take him out of Africa, or you can put him in Pelliclar or whatever.
I would say and this is just my opinion, the only Tarzan that I saw that I enjoyed that he was in Africa at the beginning, but he wasn't towards the end, and that was Greystoke, the Legend of Tarzan.
Well, in the books, he does go to England. He finds his house. He goes home. In the second novel, he becomes a French secret agent, and he's for most of the book, he's in Morocco and France. It totally surprised me. I didn't expect that.
Right, like a secret agent, really?
Yeah, and it's like a jewel heist. It's somebody steals jewels, and Tarzan's going off recovering the jewels, and then he lures them into Africa where he has the advantage towards the end of the book. But then at the end of the book, he's like, "I don't like your world. I'm going back to my world," kind of thing. But
have you ever heard of Scooby-Doo Apocalypse?
Yes.
I heard of it. I know I catch hell every time I say this. I've never liked Scooby-Doo. The writing was so bad. Even as a kid, I was like, "This is stupid. This is a stupid story." That guy's going to take his mask off, and it's not a monster. It's this guy, and he would have gotten away with it. It's the same story every episode. I remember one of my friends like, "Yeah, I just got into comics. I'm reading a Scooby-Doo comics." I just like physically made a disgust face. He's like, "What?" I'm like, "I hate Scooby-Doo. Always hated Scooby-Doo."
Yeah. Well, with Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, it's not a hoax.
I mean, I don't know. Let's take the Hanna-Barbera Globetrotters. It's the apocalypse. I don't know. It just sounds like too desperate. It's the apocalypse. Yay. Okay. Who would win in a fight, the $6 Million Man or Doc Savage? I don't know.
Doc Savage. Doc Savage, only because of the type of stories they are. Doc Savage is a life and death combatant. With the Bionicle Man, it was just like slow motion, push, maybe a punch. And he doesn't really fight anybody. And with Savage, he fights. I
gotta say, the TV show, I love that TV show, with the exception of Bigfoot in the second season. $6 Million Man never really fought anybody that was more. He was the most powerful guy. Then Bigfoot was the first time that he was like, "Oh God, I'm being challenged here." Whereas Doc Savage, every novel, he's outsmarting guys, fighting 100 guys with poison guns and everything like that. So I think Doc Savage would figure out like an EMP burst, take out his limbs. Now he's just a collapsed pile of noodles and beat the crap out of him. Doc Savage is a Mary Sue. And I'm going to go on record here and say sometimes a Mary Sue isn't bad. Now, when I say he's a Mary Sue, like the real term is like a self-insert, like an amateur, but like Doc Savage is the best character. Like he's got a million assistants, but he's the best. He's got a guy who's an electronics expert, but he's a better electronics expert. He's got a guy who's a surgeon, but Doc Savage is a better surgeon. Everybody's just there to agree with him, and as an expert, Doc Savage is the best.
This is my favorite Mary Sue, Godzilla.
Is Godzilla Mary Sue? You can't.
Well, he almost always wins.
Yeah, Godzilla has unfortunately a lot of plot armor. It depends on who's, again, well, like everything, depends on who's writing them. Because Godzilla versus Destroyer, beautiful work. Love that. He actually dies in it. It's really, really good. And chronologically, that was his only real loss, was to Destroyer. The one thing.
I'm going to say something that's going to shock the internet right now. I've never watched the Godzilla movie.
Do you want me to give you?
I take it back. I watched the original Godzilla movie because I was embarrassed that I'd never watched it, and I said I'm going to watch them all in order. And I watched the original one, it from Japan, subtitled, and it was good. I really liked it, but I don't know. I'm not a crazy Godzilla fan.
Heisei era, besides Sight, is probably the best, not counting Godzilla Shin and minus Zero.
I heard
-1
to watch.
-1.
-1 is terrific.
But both Shin and -1 are beautiful movies and complete polar opposites in how they're made. Complete polar opposites.
So I can see where the politics would get people upset in
Shin.
Which one? Shin. But if you get the Zoke, it's actually pretty funny. They're making fun of their own government for not doing anything about that nuclear reactor.
You can put that to all of our governments. They're like, hey.
But if you don't understand the joke, it's not funny.
Yeah. I think most smart people would get that. Politicians are useless in crisis situations. Leave it to the real
some people didn't like the movie because they didn't understand the joke.
Yeah.
I like what Garfield says here. The Shadow and Zorro. Zorro, if you remove Zorro from his time frame, that's not the same character.
Yeah, I can see that because he had a sword, and that's not going to compete with a gun.
I mean, he existed in a strange part of time, like not a strange part, a unique part in history. That Mexico, not really, Mexico,
late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah, like that like landed nobility in Southern California, Northern Mexico. It's a unique time. There's not too many stories, and Zorro doesn't work in Chicago. You know what I mean? It has to be, the setting is like an integral part of the character. The Shadow, I don't know. The Shadow right now wouldn't work if you ask me.
I don't think the camera could take Godzilla.
What are you disappointed in, old dirty fatty? What are you doing? I'm seeing the comments.
He's looking at my nudie pictures again. Come on, dude.
Is he looking at my face and he's disappointed? Oh, he's disappointed that I never saw a Godzilla movie. My first Godzilla film was Godzilla '98 with Matthew Broderick. It was terrible. Even as a kid, I saw it. So I started at the very first one, and I liked it. So I'll watch them in chronological order. I've never seen a James Bond movie. I've never seen a Godzilla movie, and I finally saw Die Hard for the first time 2 years ago.
Well, with Godzilla, there's no chronological order. You're aware of that, right?
Well, I'm going to watch them in order that they were made.
The first few are in chronological order, especially in the Japanese uncensored versions. But after a while, it just kind of reboots and says, "Oh, the first one was real, but everything else is rebooted."
Right. It's the same with he's like when you watch a Tarzan. There's some characters that you just understand. Each movie is its own thing, which is it'll bring us back to Batman and Superman. Like when Batman and Superman go public domain, it's just going to be understood. Like when I see a Benedict Cumberbatch playing Sherlock Holmes, it's not the same as Rodney Down Jr. playing Sherlock Holmes. You know what I mean? Like it's its own unique capsule to the movie, and I think that's what's going to happen with Batman, Spider-Man, Superman. Some guy, because nowadays with a cell phone and filters, you can make a quality looking movie. We're going to have people who really like Superman. They're going to make their own definitive versions, and people aren't going to be like, "Well, I saw that Superman." Then people are going to understand. Oh, it's like Sherlock Holmes. this is a Sherlock Holmes movie. Like like James Bond. Are we supposed to believe that all of those movies are in the same continuity? Like this guy has changed his appearance, or do we hand wave that away? Like he's been fighting the communists since 1961, and he's also fighting whoever in 2020. Like, are we just supposed to accept every movie as its own movie, or is there an internal
plastic surgery?
You know, I like the idea that it's 007 is just the number assigned to the latest agent, and he's given the name James Bond, like kind of like they do it with Doctor Who. Why not James Bond?
Well, like with the Gamera Godzilla thing, it's also the same thing with Marvel Comics, DC Comics, same thing. Which era are you talking about? Who's creating it? Which generation? Like there's 4 or 5 different versions of Gamera. There's probably 30 different versions of Godzilla. So saying this particular character can beat this particular character, it's like which version? You have to be very
I hate to disagree. The only one that Gamera I think could take would be the TriStar Godzilla.
Oh no! You have not watched Gamera Guardian of the Universe trilogy, have you?
I know that Godzilla I have, and Godzilla has survived nukes before.
Yeah, Gamera was literally created to be the guardian of the planet. Anything that builds up, however powerful the threat is to the planet, is how powerful Gamera becomes to overcome it if he's able to.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you watch the trilogy, the Heisei trilogy of Gamera,
I did.
Okay. Do you remember at the beginning when they found Gamera's floating on the water and they took that basically that spike that was in him? He was created to kill the Gauss, because the Gauss were originally created to fight the Atlantean enemies, and the Gauss reproduced, wiped out Atlantis almost, and then they made Gamera into a guardian beast. And as the Gauss became more powerful, Gamera had to absorb more and more mana from the center of the Earth, and that's what caused the Earth to kind of go into an ice age.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, he had to summon all that energy to fight all the Gauss, and then it pretty much reset the world, and that's why Atlantis was destroyed. We had an ice age for so long. Yeah, Gamera, when written
I
well.
watched those movies several times. I don't remember anything about the whole planet freezing because of Gamera.
Yeah,
I remember. Then again, I watched the American translation, not the Japanese original.
And John, I would suggest checking out that trilogy because it's only 3 movies. You don't have to go for 15 movies like the original Godzilla series. And each one is an actual sequel to the prior.
Okay.
So once the third's over, it's just like it's done. Now it's just like, okay.
And I don't recommend casual fans watch the other Gamera movies because they're kind of an acquired taste.
They're kids' movies. They're for 5 to 10-year-olds, except for the first one, which was like the original Godzilla, serious. But after that, they were to 5 to 7-year-olds. You try to find 5-7-year-old to watch the Heisei version, they're going to cry and they're going to have nightmares. It is brutal. I mean, and the thing, what you'll love about it, John, old school effects.
I'm just listening to this conversation. I'm enjoying that. I know nothing about this, and you guys are into it. This is what Clobbering Time is about. So I'm enjoying this. So, let me just say, we did Conan versus Tarzan, and we agreed that Tarzan wins. I mean, Conan wins. Conan's specialty is combat. Tarzan's specialty is not combat. Conan wins.
And anytime you have a versus, if they're fighting somebody that is made to kill, is much different than somebody that's just strong and powerful.
Right. But anyway, as you were saying, I didn't mean to. I just wanted to.
For me, the Godzilla Gamera thing isn't power scaling. It's what are the better movies, right? Godzilla does have the highest pinnacle of when it comes to the better movies than Gamera, for sure. But it's because I worked in film. I'm very, very drawn to the different style of puppeteering between Tohei and I'm trying to remember who did Gamera. in the way they film Giant Monster from different camera angles, the way they use their wire work, and they set up their miniatures completely different. And that's why I enjoyed that Gamera trilogy so much, because they didn't copy Godzilla. They started from the ground up. Their own, like, watch this, Matthew, when you get a chance. Watch like old Rodan and Ghidorah wire flying, and then watch the Gauss flying from the Gamera Guardian of the Universe. That flying sequences are so beautiful compared to Tohei's. I mean, I was like, can't you guys just form the best monster studio and put all your arts together and give us the best monster movie ever? But yeah.
What drives me nuts is they made a game where they had the rights to both Gamera and Godzilla, but Gamera and Godzilla never met in the game.
It's to keep both studios happy, right?
And they never let the Americans buy this game either.
Yep. We didn't get very many Godzilla games compared to Japan. Not even close. Same thing with like anime games in the 80s and 90s. We used to have a Super Famicom or a Genesis that was it was a neutral something. I forget what it's called within the system, because everything was region locked. So we would have to buy a neutral system to be able to import Japanese games and download, if we can find them in the early days of computers, the translations for the video games. So while we're playing, we're like, okay, what scene are we at? And we'd have to look up the translation to figure out what's going on while we played these Fist of the North Star and Godzilla games that are all in Japanese. The 80s and 90s were much different for us Japanese fans, way different.
But something they don't really address much anymore, except they addressed it in the original Japanese movie and only the uncensored Japanese version. And they almost never reference it again, is Godzilla almost died from a nuke. And that's why he hates humans.
Well, that's why I kind of like what they did in Godzilla versus King Ghidorah during his Heisei series, where the aliens thought, hey, we can't defeat Godzilla, so let's kill him early. And they teleport him from where the small bomb dropped to where into the future where the first nuclear test was. So they wanted to kill Godzilla that way. So the nuke just made him even more powerful than the A-bomb did. Yeah. And that's what caused him to eventually die. Was because of that.
That one was actually humans, not aliens.
The humans teleported him?
Those were future humans.
Yeah, okay, they're future.
Who wanted to colonize Japan.
Because they had the Ghidorah drones with them. That's why I called them aliens. Yes, you're right. They were called Futurites or some shit like that. It was really bad.
Yeah. I didn't actually like that movie, mainly because of how weak Ghidorah was, and I love Ghidorah.
Well, that wasn't really Ghidorah. That was a human version of Ghidorah.
Oscar says we don't talk politics, religion, football, or Godzilla if we want to maintain peace. I'm enjoying this conversation. I'm just listening because I know nothing about this, so I'm enjoying the differences. And Old Dirty Fatty, I'm not the arbiter of everything. I was just thinking they were talking about Conan and Tarzan, and then somebody said, "Have you ever had Phantom?" I think Phantom versus Tarzan would be a good fight.
That's a really.
They're both good adventures, and the Shadow versus Conan being that they're both bloodthirsty killers. You know,
that'd be an interesting.
Jet Jaguar has growth technology. Is he the guy that does this and then gets big?
Okay. Yes.
Well, that's the same thing with Ultraman, right?
Right.
Jet Jaguar was just, hey, we don't have permission to use Ultraman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But Jet Jaguar is a cool name.
No, that's a very cool name, and it sounds like, if you guys are interested in Japanese culture during that time, that sounds 100% a pro wrestler's name.
Yeah.
They used to go with full masks on and almost like luchas. Jet Jaguar sounds like an old Japanese wrestling name, and I love it.
Yeah.
Well, what I heard was they did some sort of contest. Hey, design as a monster, and Jet Jaguar won.
They really wanted Ultraman. They've wanted
Well,
Ultraman
that
for
makes
a
a
while.
lot more sense, Bo.
And it might be also to the case where, hey, we know we'll never get Ultraman, so let's do this, put it out to the public. Because who would not go see a Godzilla Ultraman team up? That would have sold beyond anything. But again, Toho does not play nice with anybody. It wasn't until Legendary
Who's Toho?
they own the rights to
Those
Godzilla.
for people who make
It's a
Godzilla.
studio. It's a
Yeah, it's a
studio.
studio.
Okay.
But when Legendary got the rights from Toho to apologize for the Roland Emmerich Godzilla, for the 2014 Godzilla, the original director of the 1958 Godzilla saw it and wept. He saw it in Hollywood, and he's like, "This is Godzilla." I'm like, how can nobody could ever pay you that much of an homage to have the original director of the 1958 film goes, "I love your movie, I love your remake."
Which version was that?
The 2014, I'm trying to remember who directed it. He did
Bryan
Monsters.
Cranston in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that one, and I love the next one, Godzilla King of the Monsters. I love those two because that was, Matthew might agree with me on that one. That's Ghidorah. That is the Ghidorah I've always wanted, I've always loved. And when an American company gave us that Ghidorah, the true alien monster, I'm like, I love this movie. I love this movie.
I love how he
cheesy it
tried
is.
to raise a whole army.
Well, that and just like the John, you haven't seen this movie, so I'm not trying to spoil it.
Okay.
There's a fight scene in the Arctic between Ghidorah and Godzilla that was one of the best fight scenes I've seen, and the great use of powers. Like Ghidorah, instead of just being a giant three-headed alien invading monster, he's so
He's got
powerful.
the 3 heads and the wings.
Yeah, when he flies, he literally
Spits
generates
electricity too.
hurricanes around him. He changes the geographical location of wherever he is. That's how powerful he is. I'm like, that's
a board game that people. It's complicated, but I think it was written in Italian and then put through a translator, so it took a long time to figure out the rules. It's not great, but it's Ghidorah, Godzilla, and I don't even know the names of the other characters. Just knocking down buildings and fighting. It's just a fun raucous time. If you ever want to come over and play the Godzilla board game, come on down.
There's an American version of it that's similar. It's called King of Monsters or something like that.
Oh yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about? Where they're miniatures, and you have like you buy, or you can just cut out like little cardboard cutouts for the city skyscrapers, and it's just like Warhammer, but you only have like one big monster and some small ones, and you have to play against your other monsters and like shoot beams at each other while your little monsters run and do missions. Like that's really cool. I like that idea. I think that's
They recently invented a Godzilla card game.
Did they? Is it a living card game or is it a TCG?
What's a living card game?
A living card game is Arkham Asylum.
A living card game is when you buy it, you know what you're going to get. So if Arkham buys Series 1, he gets the same exact cards as I got when I bought Series 1. But a collectible card game is you never know what you're going to buy.
Random chance.
And,
Yeah.
and
I don't know which one it is, to be honest. I just watched the trailer.
If you are a Godzilla fan, you can probably get them pretty cheap now because Magic has gone to shit, and they've reprinted everything to shit. So the bottom market, the secondary market's dead almost for Magic. They released a Godzilla line not about 4 years ago for Magic the Gathering, and there's some beautiful art in there. And now that the prices have dropped, I'm going to actually get them.
And I heard that one of them got banned called Space Godzilla. Ooh, cool.
So
I think I have that toy.
This is one of the pieces to the board game. So what is that, Ghidorah?
Yeah.
That's Ghidorah.
You guys can tell me, who is this then? This is Rodan.
That looks like Rodon.
Yeah. Okay. And then this goofy looking one. What is this guy?
Gigan.
Use crows.
And then, did I freeze? Did you not see it?
I saw it. It's Gigan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Gigan.
Okay.
That's actually one of the newer sculpts of him too. the newer designs.
And then, of course,
Big
Godzilla.
D, yeah.
Godzilla. Got
And-
any mobs?
No, that's all the pieces. And then they
They
got
always-
these plastic things that you fill out the map, so they become buildings.
Wait, they made a board game of Godzilla without Mothra?
Yeah,
Yeah, there's no Anguirus in there either.
put these pieces down according to which scenario you're playing all over the map. So you make it Tokyo, Manhattan, or whatever, and you get points for knocking down buildings. And but like you got the cards, and you could save up your points and buy a card. One of them is just a meteor strike. So you're playing the game and you have a meteor strike all the way across the board, and it hits Gidan or whatever this guy's name is and takes him out. It's a fun game. I bought games even though I'd never seen. Like I got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, and I absolutely love it. And I only read my first comic, this year or last year now.
Well, the TVT game, that's by it's not Flying Frog. That's done by Simon, isn't it?
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Yeah, the new one is by Simon. I forgot who the old one is, but they're the same game. So if you buy both versions, you could combine them and
Oh,
just have
nice.
pieces.
I have such a love-hate relationship with Simon. It's just like, you guys, you're the best, but why are you doing it this way? It makes no sense to me. Matthew, are you into board games at all?
Not really. Pandemic I like.
Oh, Pandemic's a great game.
Yeah.
I to get back to Simon, for those of you who don't know, that they started out as a website called Cool Mini or Not.
Yep.
And it was just a bunch of painters. They would put up their painted miniature, and you basically voted, is it cool or not? And it got to be pretty big, and then they made their own miniature lines, and then they ended up making their own games. And they're based out of Singapore, and they make, I think, some of the best games ever. And you can't argue with their miniatures. If you're into miniatures, buy anything by Simon. It's just absolutely great miniatures.
And you get them for a lot of them for a good price.
And if you kickstart it, you literally get like 3 extra boxes that nobody else can get. And then these boxes literally sell for like $700, on the aftermarket. But the problem,
go ahead. Sorry.
The problem with Simon is apparently they're bad businessmen. They're kind of like another group of people that do crowdfunding. So what they do is they make Godzilla. They didn't make a Godzilla, but I'm just making this up for the sake of argument. So they'll make Godzilla game. They'll raise $4 million, and then they buy a warehouse. They'll buy a building. They'll hire people, and they'll do all of this stuff. And then they didn't have enough money to make the game. So now they'll make another game, Sherlock Holmes, the game, and they'll raise $4 million, and then they'll put out Godzilla.
Yeah.
So they're always one crowdfund off. You know what I mean? Like they shouldn't have spent that. So now they're on the verge of bankruptcy because the last 2 crowdfunds didn't do as good as they wanted. So like they're like 3 games behind. You know what I mean? Like the way I do crowdfunding is I paid for my first comic book, raised money, and then I used the money for Heroic Tales to pay for Heroic Tales 2. And now Heroic Tales 2 is going to pay for Heroic Tales 3 kind of thing. You know what I mean? I'm the opposite, but they did it backwards. So I guess they thought they were never going to. So they would like rush out campaigns. Like they would have like 3 or 4 active campaigns on Kickstarter. And then literally they would be like 7 or 8 years later, and now I think the tariffs are just destroying them because they're from Singapore and all the pieces made from China. But anyway, I don't want to get into politics, but that's Simon. Is that why you love him and hate him?
Yeah, I love the miniatures. They were very good at game design. The newer games are not that good, in my opinion. There's like if you take Massive Darkness 1 versus 2, just Massive Darkness 1's a better game.
Oh, really? You're the first person ever to say I have both versions. I've never played either one of them yet.
Yeah, the second one, it just, I don't know. They kind of got in their way a little bit. Does that make sense? Massive Darkness 1, very simple, very fun game. You can abuse it and power through the whole thing. Yeah, very easily. But if you play it for the fun of it and do the actual exploring, or do what my drunk friends do when they have to go home and when their wives yell at them, run from dungeon or level 1 all the way to level 4. That activates every dungeon to level 4. So the first door you open, it's all level 4 monsters for a level 1 party. Because he had to leave, so he just screwed us all. I'm like, thanks, dude. So you can just start over. I'm like, no, you did this. We're gonna play it and we're gonna yell at you for it.
Well, one of my favorite games of all time is Zombicide.
Oh, so good. Yeah.
I love Zombicide. That's a Cbon game. I got every edition of it, and I bought like extra pieces for it. I bought like terrain for it and everything like that. And now I'm like so pissed because they made a second edition, and it's still sitting in shrink wrap because I'm like, is this gonna like make my first edition obsolete? You know. So I didn't open it yet, but I gotta play it. That's something that like when I have the $100,000 stream and I invite all my friends to New York to play, we'll play role playing games. We'll play Zombicide. You know, I thought you were chugging booze over there, Matthew. I was like, look at this guy with this bourbon over here, just chugging. But I got nothing else to talk about. I'll wait for Arkham to come back and then we'll shut the stream down. What did you say? Are you not a board gamer, Matthew?
Not really. I like Pandemic, but that's about it. I like video games mostly.
Yeah, I'm scared to play video games because I know me. I'll get carried away. You know. I'm
a big fan of Nintendo, but like Arkham said, I'm starting to have a love-hate relationship with them. They're starting to a few years ago they discovered fan-made games, and apparently they're suing them into oblivion rather than hiring the people that are making popular fan games. And one of them's even so different I wouldn't even call it a fan game. And they're still suing that one into oblivion.
Oh yeah, people are very, 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 very protective of IP since nerd culture became pop culture.
Well, I just don't understand. Have you heard about Power World?
Yeah, my son's big into that specific genre of gaming. Well,
it's like Pokemon for those of you who don't know, but you hunt them with guns instead of fighting them with other monsters. And
in defense of all of these companies, the IP laws are really strange. You have to be active and defend your copyright.
Yes.
So, yeah, like, I get you, but
a lot of people got mad because J.K. Rowling sued small fan fiction people over Harry Potter, and they thought it was bullying, but she wants to control Harry Potter, and I don't blame her. And if she let these people publish their Harry Potter stuff, that says to the courts of law that she's not defending her copyright and she could lose it.
Well, if they had Pikachu in this game, I would see it. But none of the monsters you hunt are actually from Pokemon.
Oh, well,
it's inspired by Pokemon.
Right, but it's also some of the mechanics that were implicated into the game were a little too close to Pokemon for Nintendo.
I really hate the idea of being able to copyright a mechanic.
Yeah,
I just realized I'm turning into the actually guy. Actually, you can't copyright a mechanic, you know. So you can make board games using mechanics from other things. Although the board game industry is so small, it's common courtesy to ask permission first, you know. But nothing's going to stop you from using 3 dice and fighting another game. You know what I mean? You can't copyright that.
But Nintendo has been. And I
don't know about. I'm talking about board games.
But here's the thing:
well, I don't know. It used to be illegal, but now they're
Power World won.
Brute forcing it.
Yeah, but Power World
Some
won.
courts are brute forcing it so hard that it's actually getting passed occasionally.
Matthew, this is from the game we're talking about, the Massive Darkness with the miniatures and so forth.
Massive Darkness has great miniatures. Did you get the
I got the Lightbringer.
Yeah, Massive Darkness. I'm looking at the game, but I can't read the others.
I got the others, yes.
Yeah, the others is an interesting game, man. I can't beat if I'm a player in that game, because that's like you need a dungeon master. One person plays the monsters, one person I'd never win as the heroes. And then there's what is it called? Moloch, the world of Moloch.
I didn't get that one. I did get Rage, and I did get
Hate.
Hate. Yes,
yeah.
I got those.
Oh my god, the miniatures and Hate. I that game. they were like, it's the edgiest game in the world. Hate, and you keep track of points by little severed human hands. That's the point markers, because you capture your opponents, you cut their hands off, and you actually have little. It's like the goriest, grossest game. I haven't played it.
You could sacrifice the people you capture. You can eat the people you capture to heal your wounded, or you can try to recruit them into your tribe. It's a fun game.
So you've played it?
Yeah.
Because I got everything, the plastic huts and everything. I got the
Oh, I didn't get that much. Most of my CMON I got secondhand because I was the only one that was into board games. My crew were just pure D&D players. Nobody wanted to branch out. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to invest $200, $400 sometimes on this Kickstarter. I'm going to wait till it comes out. And then, you get the reviews and you're like, all right, that sounds like a really fun game.
Yeah, well,
it's still $300.
Just like I used to collect anything CMON put out, anything Final Fantasy, I would back. And CMON, like Arcadia Quest, it was like $700 to back everything. But now I could sell it all. Like, there's one little piece that's like $1,000. I could sell that, but like this over here, Chaos Ball, one of the early CMON games, like this little ringer over here. This is like a $500 piece. I don't want to give it up, but I also don't want to take it out of the shrink wrap. You know what I mean? Because I haven't played the game in forever, so why take it out? But guys, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be on Vaughn Coleman's stream. We're gonna talk about the comic of Invincible. I'm gonna finish my burrito. I'm gonna go over there. So Arkham, he's drawing a comic for me. So he's gonna have 2 stories for me. He's gonna have the Greek mythology story about the husband and wife explorer who find a treasure trove of mythological artifacts, and they find out something about the nature of the universe. That's the elevator pitch. And then you're going to be drawing, I hope, I'm being presumptuous over here, the 3 wise men story for next year's Christmas story.
Yeah, we have plenty of time for that.
Yeah. So Matthew, you got anything you want to promote? Anything you want to talk about?
Check out the Night Slayers on Global Comics and on Kickstarter coming March 3rd.
The Night Slayers. Okay, well, I'm going to get going. Heroic Tales 2 is still available. I'm funding my comic. And at this point, it's time for me to say goodbye, kids. And next week, we'll get back to proper It's Clobbering time. We'll do Bucky versus Robin. So
that's so far gone.
That looks great. That looks good.
I'm having fun.
Goodbye, kids.
Goodbye, kids.
Hey!